when has it become cringe to try? And I believe that throughout all, maybe not all of history, but as far as we can tell, there's always been a certain opposition from people around you if you go against the grain. So let's say if you're just at your job and one day you decide, "Oh, I'm going to start a business." Well, your friends, your family would likely, at least in the beginning, be opposed to it. They'll be, "Oh, the risk is too high, you shouldn't do that." But it would be more in a way of concerned for you in a lot of ways, where when it was this effort you were going to put in, and even if you're going to try things in a different way, it was more worried about you. Where nowadays it feels like the worry of yourself and of others, as far as the risk of doing new things, of doing different things, of putting effort, it's not even about failing, but it's more about, will people think I'm cringe or not? Will I be embarrassed by this? Will I be ridiculed by it? Essentially, all around public opinion and approval of others. And obviously, it's very easy to see why this is the case and why this happens because, well, social media happened. And when you live in a time when, as soon as you put some effort in and you share, not even if you share it, and you can share it right away and you can get opinions right away, well, of course, we're going to grow not only used to it, but depending on it and relying on it. And, a lot of our emotion state and a lot of our well being is going to depend on that, especially if you start posting things. Now, if you think about, and I'll connect all of this, I know it's getting a bit scattered, but if you think back to the past, if you were a musician or a writer or a filmmaker, whatever it may be, you could not have, it would be impossible to have the reaction of the public right away. You would have to create something first, the painting, the album, the movie, not fully knowing if there was going to be approval for this or not, and then only at the end would you receive it. And so because there was no opportunity to be cringe along the way, to do something that perhaps people don't, not everyone likes right away, and everyone could give their opinion, you were free of it. And because you were more free of it, not only you were more creative, and I think that's undeniable. There were much more different things that stood out in their own sort of way, in their own sort of field than they do nowadays. But B, because you were not trapped by this, by the constant need to see if the approval is right or not, you would create better things because you were more free. And when you're more free of, especially of public opinion, you're going to create better things. They're more original, they're more true, that strike more of a chord with people. However, they also had the risk of potentially the opposite, of being cringe, being truly something that is like, what were you thinking? This is just plain out stupid. Yet, I do believe that losing the ability to be cringe in a lot of ways. Because if you look nowadays, it's everything's cringe. Like if I put an exclamation mark at the end of a sentence, that's cringe. It's like, why is bro so excited for? It's like everything, and you can, it doesn't take much. If you go to any comment section, anywhere that people are essentially commenting, you will see this. And then again, this ends up reflected in what people do and what they create, because in the back of their minds, it's always, what are the comments going to say? What is the public opinion going to be? What are the other people that then create content going to say about this? And it really got to a point where, and I think this always existed, but now more than ever, where it's like people want desperately to, on the one hand, put the effort in, make something good, but on the other, feel like to look like they didn't have to put effort in, and like they were so cool. Like if they're James Bond, and things just, the things just happen. Yeah, it's no big deal. But I don't think that's a good way to go about life, because it's not a genuine way to go about life. Some things are a big deal, and sometimes you will feel scared, and sometimes you'll feel excited, and I don't think there's anything wrong with expressing these emotions and with actually being free of always being thinking about, oh, what are the other people going to say? What are the other people going to say? Because I remember a clip, recent, maybe not that recent, but not that old as well, from I believe ASAP Rocky or Tyler the Creator, one of them, where they essentially share this feeling where it's like, when did it become not cool to put effort in? When did it become not cool to actually put your love and your time and your effort into something that matters to you. I think it's much, when you really think about it, the opposite is what should be cringe, is to trying to be so nonchalant about life and to seem like to maintain a certain posture and a certain image of yourself that you end up just living more for the approval of others than anyone else. And then I would say you are the most cringe of them all because you are the one that's the most dependent on public opinion. And I even, not a few months ago, there was this thing in my country, Portugal, and I think it happened in Spain as well, that for almost, I think it was like around 15 hours, at least where I was, that the electricity went off the whole country. So, not even about internet, electricity. So at some point, laptop runs out of battery, phone runs out of battery, you don't have internet, and you are just there living life. And what was funny is that toward the end of the day, so closer to when the electricity came back, I felt myself reverting back to a sort of purity and a sort of genuinity that I hadn't felt since I was, even probably before I was a teenager. And and I got this feeling back, a feeling I had really forgotten about, and it really made me question just how damaging it is to always, not only if you create something, to always be able to receive opinions of other people and then always worrying about this cringe. But even the very fact of, let's say, if you're watching a YouTube video or if you're seeing a post on Instagram, how many of us, and I'm guilty of this too, go right away to the comments and see what the public opinion is and see what others are saying. If you look at something like Reddit, the whole thing is based on that. It's just opinions. There will be the news, but most people don't even click on the news. You just read the opinions of other people. And when you consume so much opinions of other people and you know they're going to give it, and you know that there's a certain benefit, because there is, if you look at social media, to actually be in the good grace of the mob, well, then you're going to live in a different way. And you're going to restrict yourself from creating certain things and sharing certain things and talking in a certain way and being a bit too excited about something or too happy or whatever it may be, because you're going to be concerned about what are they going to say. And a lot of time, it's really as a concept, most of the times it's fine. Most of the times it's all in your mind. But again, we live in this reality where sadly it does feel like it is becoming more and more that you are cringe if you are genuine and if you really actually try for things and you actually show that sometimes you are putting a lot of effort and you're trying and you're struggling and you're being a human being. And so I think this, above all, at least to me, and I know it's just a big rant, but it shows me that we are doing things wrong in a certain way. And I don't want to mean here just to complain or on the other side of that, just to give some basic advice that everyone knows, like, oh yeah, get off the internet. Of course we know that, but I think we ought to dare a bit more and to, because we can't really escape living with social media and all of these things. We can, but it's very difficult. But we ought to be a bit more cringe often and to, not be afraid of creating something, even though it seems a bit too genuine or too excited, too whatever it may be. Because even, let's say, something like these videos, a lot of people would say, oh, if no one watches, it's cringe. But then if a lot of people watches, it's not cringe anymore. The same concept, the same way of speaking, the same thing. But at what point does it become not cringe and cringe? Is it just, people are watching and liking? Because if you think, and this is what we forget, if you think about each individual person that is liking or disliking, commenting or not commenting, they are people. We are all people. We're cringe in our own ways. We are ourselves in our own ways. But in the way that, again, there's no face to these comments. You really don't see the person. Everyone can seem cool when you don't have a profile picture and you're just saying something that people are gonna agree with. But again, going back to one of perhaps the most known poems that's ever been written, "The Man in the Arena," and really paraphrasing here, but the glory really does not go to the critic that stands outside and criticizes and says that, because that's easy. The glory And when I say glory here, not only about what you receive from the world, the rewards, but what you feel inside goes to the man or woman that is in the arena, struggling, dust on their face, falling, getting back up again, trying. Because, and I'm going to put on the screen because I cannot do justice just trying to think about it in my own words here. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the people that are always outside and that just know how to criticize and never create and never put themselves out there will be forever not only miserable, but unfulfilled. Because what we have to realize here is that we are allowed and we have this freedom inherent to us to find this fulfillment, to do these things, and to put this effort in because that's what we are meant to do. But to do such a thing, we have to risk. We have to risk being cringe, it's said nowadays, meaning we have to risk not receiving the approval of others. But only by risking that, and only especially risking in a way that is genuine to ourselves, and that we go towards parts of creation that really are uncertain, sometimes unexplored, can we actually, if we are to deliver, and again, put good work and receive the rewards from the world, but above all, to actually live good lives. And so let's just stop with this. And I say this to you as I say to myself, to stop looking so much at the comments and public opinion and all of that. And man, let's just create, let's just be more honest with ourselves.